If you don't stand up for your children, you will get steamrolled. You and your family will be steamrolled, or something far worse can happen. We cannot be afraid to stand up and to speak out. Sure, that will create a rift between you and maybe some of the people in your school that you had a relationship with, or sure, it might pit you against a mayor or somebody else, but who cares? Who cares? You have to fight for something. Might as well be for your children. Your voice matters. You actually make a difference. And I saw that happening in New York. I don't know if you all saw the reports coming out of New York City, but it's coming from across the country. You would think that in Democratic states that maybe there would be some kind of different sentiment for those of you who are conservative. I'm assuming a large majority of you who listen to my podcast are. And you would think that like the issue of migrants and migration would be addressed differently. Remember when I went to Martha's Vineyard, and they had shipped the, basically Governor Abbott and them had shipped busloads of migrants, illegal migrants, to Martha's Vineyard that had just been processed into the country by Border Patrol. And everybody in Martha's Vineyard had a heart attack. Remember that? They were just like, oh my gosh, but this is like Martha's Vineyard. Nobody comes here like that. I mean, we're all just hoity-toity, right? They can't just can't just show up here, right? This is some of the richest people in the country. And they didn't even want people there, but it wasn't necessarily also because they didn't want them there. It's because they didn't have the facility or the resources or anything to handle it. So they say. They were pretty rich. But right now, what we're seeing in New York City and Chicago and across the country is Democrats that have sanctuary cities basically saying, oops, we can't handle this. We cannot handle this. And in fact, Mayor Eric Adams did exactly what he was mad at Governor Greg Abbott for. He went ahead. There are over 60,000. Let me just explain really quick with some of my fast facts. I don't know if I have all right here, but I've got my fast facts here. Over 60,000, and I'm going to get into more detail, migrants, illegal aliens, people that have come into the country, but our government has processed them in with a notice to appear in court or not, whatever. They're just all over the streets. 60,000 of them in New York. So in New York City, it's imploding. They're literally pushing vets out of hotels, homeless vets, and replacing them with the illegals, with the illegal migrants. And so Mayor Eric Adams was like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what? I think I'm going to start this really bizarre plan." And I don't know who gave him the idea, but to basically ship all of these people that were inside the city out into the suburbs, mainly conservative suburbs, into those suburbs and house them in elementary schools. Believe it or not, folks, I absolutely thought that this was a Babylon Bee lie. It was a headline. I thought it was a joke. I didn't even think it was true. And I'll explain to you why. But I mean, I just cannot believe that somebody in New York City said, hey, guess what? We're going to take all these illegal migrants that are under overflow. We're going to send them to mainly conservative places like Coney Island, Brooklyn, and then we're going to put them in elementary schools. Yes, so that they can be housed there in the gyms, right next to the kiddos. So this is what I want to tell you. It's your children. You have an absolute right to defend them no matter what. You are the parent. Do not buy the BS that it's all okay, that it's going to be safe, that we've got, police on campus, that they won't have any contact. No, I was there. I saw it was like 10 feet between the gym and the school. And there were other issues that I'm going to bring up. In fact, something that somebody told me had happened at one of the schools that was really kind of frightening. And it had to do with the students and the migrants, because it shows that you can't keep people separated. And also, these are your taxpayer dollars, right? These are your taxpayer dollars that are meant for educating your children. And so that they have a gym to play in. So they're not out back like at PS 188, right? In Coney Island, playing on the tarmac when they have a perfectly good gym that shields them from the sun, that has sweet little bathrooms that they can use. By the way, not adult toilets. We'll get into that later. Where 83 men are sleeping on cots. And yes, 83 men. And we saw some of them. And I talked to some of them after they came out of the gym, and it was not cool. And I have an update on that school as well and why your voice matters. You want to know why your voice matters? Because not just me as a journalist telling the stories on television and all the other journalists that were there covering these stories, but they covered it because you as parents stood up and said, we do not accept this for our children. This is unacceptable. And many of you said it's not that we oppose migrants, and many, by the way, folks, almost every single person that I interviewed, and I say almost, was not originally born in America. They're Americans, but they came to this country from other countries, Jamaica, El Salvador, Colombia. You know, I could go on. And they were here legally. And they were the parents that were standing outside saying, this is unacceptable. And I'm going to go into that and so much more. And you guys, we have the power here. We can take our nation back. Yes, we can. We can. And I'm going to be back with that and more. But first, I want to tell you what you need to do for yourself and for your family is you need to diversify your funds. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. It just doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. And especially in this day and age, when everything is so fluid, right? I think that's the best word for it. We don't know what's going to happen one day to the next with the stock market, with China. We see what's happening in Ukraine. We see in the United States how upside down our nation is. So you want to diversify all your money. And you can do that with Allegiance Gold. Now, don't just trust me. I always say do your own research. Do this for yourself. But trust me on this. Diversification is the way to go. And right now, you get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. And my friends at Allegiance Gold, listen, they can help protect your IRA, your 401k with physical gold and silver, or have it delivered securely right to your front door. Yes, you can have gold delivered to your front door. And by the way, you should have a ring so you can see the gold being delivered to your front door, because I don't want the gold delivered to your front door and somebody running off with it, right? We want you to get that gold. And right now, Allegiance Gold has the highest ratings in the industry. You get 5 stars with TrustLink. Listen to this. It's AAA rated with the Business Consumer Alliance and A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. It just can't get better than that. That's why I'm so grateful that Allegiance Gold is a sponsor of the Sara Carter Show. Get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. So don't wait. Call or click today, 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A, or go to protectwithsara.com. We can't control the Biden administration, folks, but we can prepare. 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, S-A-R-A, or protectwithsara.com. So I just got in this morning into Austin. I flew the day before just to make sure I could be on Sean's show. I know this was such an important story. It was breaking in New York. We had parents protesting for days, reporters outside of schools, all across New York City. And I still try to figure out all the boroughs. Like I try to act like I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. I'm like, P.S. what? Why are these schools all numbers? What's this borough? What's that borough? I'm driving through Brooklyn. I'm going to Coney Island. It's so rich in history. And by the way, I know people have an idea about New York. There are some areas that are just, oh my gosh. It's like, we need to fix this up, like Manhattan DA, let's fix it up. Arvin Bragg, you need to fix that mess up. And it's low bail, no bail, and all that stuff. But New York is a beautiful state. And New York City is rich in history. And it's It's divided up. You got Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan. I mean, I feel like I've been transported in time sometimes when I think about it, when I'm driving down the streets and the smells of the different foods. Yes, there are other smells, but there are smells of beautiful foods and restaurants and, Little Italy. And, you go into Brooklyn and there's like some famous pizzeria there that apparently, just has the red sauce and you fold it up and it's a square. It's like a grandma's pizza. That's what they call it. So there's all kinds of cool things about New York. It's like a big treasure chest. You're just finding stuff in it. And sometimes we forget that our children, they really bring out the best in us. They really do. I know some of you think your kids can bring out the worst in you, but really the best in us comes out when we as a society feel like our children are under duress or being threatened, right? And that's what happened in New York. People woke up. It wasn't just immigration is on television. I want to change a channel. People are coming across the border. They're, like I show you many times on the podcast and on Sean's show and when I'm on other Fox News shows, but they're coming across the border and they're walking around Brownsville, Texas. They're all over El Paso on the streets, these poor people, and mixed with God only knows what other kind of people. There's good people, bad people, everything. Just out on the streets. Human beings should not be living like this. And we don't have the capacity to handle the kind of flows that we've had into this country. And in New York City, you have, Mayor Eric Adams, who has been very vocal now that he understands how we can't handle it, like how the resources aren't really there for New York. And he's been very vocal about that. He's been very vocal against President Biden. And he has come out and said, okay, well, we've got to find a way to house all these people. And think about it, 60,000 illegal migrants. And it is a sanctuary city. So Governor Greg Abbott was like, have at it. You want to be a sanctuary city? Well, then do your part. And then they get there and then there's no room. But this is President Biden's doing and nobody else's. And anybody who supports him. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York, Mayor Adams, he supported him. This is a policy that has created chaos in our nation, not just in New York, but across the board, even in California. You'll see it in Chicago. We're going to go into that in a minute. And in New York, parents were caught off guard. This is how crazy this idea was. And it's happening. And it actually happened. But one of the schools, I'm going to update you on PS 188, in Brooklyn, those people have now left the school, I believe, or they are in the process of removing them. I was told that late last night after meeting with one of the city councilmen earlier in the day. So what happened was on Mother's Day, everybody like that I was connected to the school email got an email on Mother's Day that the schools would be used as emergency housing facilities for illegal migrants. The majority of these illegal migrants are men. Yes, they are. And I see it with my own eyes, just so many men, overwhelming men. So they weren't using the gymnasiums to put like just children and moms, which still I think would be a problem, right? Because you can't take away resources from our children in schools that already have issues with resources in their schools. Our schools are already behind. Look at what happened during COVID. And they're going to take away more resources. So then all of a sudden parents were like, well, what? You're going to do what? No. That's not going to happen. No, you are not. Oh, yes, we are. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, yes, we are. And that was it. It was a no, yes, we are. And they took the gymnasium at PS 188, PS 172. I think Williamsburg also had their gyms, were in the preparation for bringing in migrants and putting them there. And it's elementary schools, folks. So I get to PS 188. I'm with my driver. I'm with Bella. She's fantastic. She was helping me produce the piece and working with me. And we're heading through the city, about an hour from Manhattan to where I was going into Brooklyn. And I get there and I see it was quieter yesterday. It wasn't as like loud. There weren't as many protesters like hanging out of the school, but there were still parents there. And I was talking to some of them. And one of the moms, she was pretty like trying not to be political or get in the middle of it because she knew the principal, but she's like, yeah, I don't even know why they picked elementary schools to do this. This is so weird. And then she said, well, we got 3 cops inside the school. And, so I think my kids are safe. And I go, you think? I said, because this is my issue. And I was talking to her in Spanish. And I said, my issue here is that you have 83 men 10 feet away from all these children and they can't even use their gym. They have to go play on the blacktop out back. And these guys are like smoking cigarettes, and I even heard, I guess the gal, there were some people there coordinating, and there was a gal there and a couple of men that were not part of the migrant group that was staying there. They were part of the shelter, I guess at the city. They were helping them get around. And I heard the lady say, well, you can't smoke right here in front of the school. Go over to the corner. Like right the corner, like right where the playground is. Like go right over that fence line and you're fine. You can just, and they were all smoking there. And I talked to one of the neighbors, and I'm going to play you a clip in a minute, but I talked to one of the neighbors, and one of the neighbors who was a U.S. citizen, an immigrant from Jamaica, was just furious. He was furious. He's like, this is for our children. This is not to house men. It doesn't even have the capacity to house them. So they put them in on the cots. Inside the school, of course, is made for only children up to 5th grade. The gym has toilets that are made for little kids, not for adults, and no showers. So where are these guys showering? What's going on inside? Who's supervising the cots? I couldn't get any answers. Who made this decision to put grown men near our children? And then the neighbor tells me, you know what? He said, one of the grandmothers here, she has a 7-year-old that she's raising, and he goes to school. And he told her that a few days before, he walked into the boys' restroom and there were 2 men sleeping on the floor of the boys' restroom. Now, I could not verify this, so I'm just going to say it. He informed me of that. I have looked into it. There was another lady from another school that actually was at PS 188, heard the same thing. But I'm telling you, it's hearsay right now. I have to call the school and all that. But make a long story short, because there were so many parents protesting the day before, because the news media was there, we were all there, reporting on this. Apparently somebody got the message and those men were being moved. So your voice matters. And your children are worth fighting for. And you should not be spending your tax dollars to house people who have broken the law and come into our country illegally. And I know it is a sad case. It is a sad story. And we want to be there for every single person. And we are a nation of immigrants. But guess what? There is a process that protects all of us and should protect all of us. And that process is legal immigration. And if we have to make reform in our immigration system, we should do that after our border is secure, meaning shut it down. Because let me tell you, I talk to a lot of these folks that come into the country, and many of them are very good people that have been used. Obviously, wouldn't you feel used? All of a sudden you're on the streets in Brownsville. You're like, wait a minute, I thought Biden was going to give me something. Biden and the cartels are working together with the human traffickers. That's what they're doing. The human traffickers and the cartels are the middlemen for the Biden administration. That's exactly what they are. And now all these people are coming across. They don't know what to eat. They don't have any money on them. I was trying to figure out how they afforded the cigarettes. I didn't get a chance to ask that question thoroughly because in New York, they've got to be through the roof because of taxes there. So they're smoking cigarettes on the corner, all these dudes, right? They're looking pretty shady McShady, the ones that I talked to. They've got like teardrops coming down the side of their face, one of them, which is like a prison kind of tattoo that either you've killed someone or you want people to think that you killed someone. So do you want that guy sleeping in a gym near your kids? You think that guy's going to be okay? No, I wouldn't even chance it. We wouldn't even let our kids walk out with a stranger. let alone have everything taken from them. I want to play this clip. This mom was awesome. This was at PS 172. I did a lot of, this was in Brooklyn. I think PS 188 was Coney Island. Sorry if I said Brooklyn earlier, but it's Coney Island. And this school, PS 172, is in Brooklyn. And this is a Brooklyn mom, and she's irate. And I'm going to set it up for you. If you guys are watching the video, you'll see it. If you don't, let me explain to you before we play it. The school has construction going on. It's a really nice school right on a corner in a busy area of Brooklyn, but it's a pretty school. And they're doing some resurfacing and refacing of the school on the front. And so there's a gate that kind of blocks the school from the sidewalk. You know, there's this chain link fence. The gym is about like 20 feet from the building. And that was the gym that they put all the cots in to apparently house the migrants that they were going to be busing there. I don't know if they're still going to take them there or not. And the mom brought up this really important point that nobody thought about. The schools have, you know, they have fire drills. They have drills for our children. And by the way, I'm just saying this. I go to my daughter's school. She's in public school. And I have to like show my ID. It's entered into a system. I have 2 doors in a public school that are like gates, right? They're like shut. They're on lockdown. They can only open them with a button. They're not going to let anybody in. And with all the craziness that we've seen in our lifetimes, I'm going to say in our lifetimes, because we've seen way too many school shootings and craziness. We're just going to let a bunch of guys sleep in the school without background checks, folks. Remember, most of these people are processed. They don't even have thorough background checks. We're just going to let them sleep in the schools with our kids. That's how crazy this is. Now let's go to common sense. Common sense says that if we have fire drills and we have drills for like, you know, strangers on campus and stuff like that, they need the space to do the drills. The guys that are sleeping in that gym aren't going to have any idea what to do, right? Where are they going to go? They haven't been trained. They don't know the fire drill. Are they going to crash into the kids when there's literally no space between that gym and those buildings, and especially with all the construction going on, to safely do that anyways. And when I talked to the school board presidents, the co-presidents, they were saying, look, we didn't even get the notice until Mother's Day. Watch this little video and listen to what she has to say. And so where's the gym? This is the gym. So this is the gym. So.
And excuse me.
No, it's okay.
They're over there in the recess in the schoolyard, right?
So this is. So they can't even.
Construction. This is what I was telling you. Who's gonna come out first? Who's gonna come out first?
Right. There's no space for any.
There you go. Thank you very much. That's the week.
There you go. Thank you very much. I love the way she talked. She was like, I made my point. You can see it. Look with your own eyes. And that's what I say. Believe what you're seeing. Speak up and speak out. Don't let people tell you something different. You know when there is an issue with your child. You know what you need to do to protect them. You know what you need to do to protect your community. You know and understand when something does not make sense. Listen to that part of you, that instinct inside of you. My job is to just tell you what's going on out there. But and I'm a mom too, so I would do the same damn thing. I would be out there protesting. I would be holding signs. My kids would not be in school if there were 83 men and one of them with teardrops on their eyes. I don't know if there were others, and tattoos everywhere, looking like he just came out of prison. If they were sleeping in the school gym, no way in hell would I allow that to happen. And so as a journalist, columnist, I want to amplify your voices. And so do all the other journalists that were out there. And I think that was a really good example of, our republic working the right way. Now, hopefully, every school, every elementary school, hopefully this will be over by the time you hear me say this, because we all spoke up and spoke out. But I don't know. And right now, the people in Chicago are speaking out. And I know You know, Chicago, especially the south side of Chicago right now, gets a really bad rap. But remember, and there's this crazy mayor that's been elected, but there are children, those are American children in an American city that are suffering. And there are good people in that city that are like, no way in heck. And right now, there's a plan to take 500 illegal migrants and then just put them in Chicago. Another, you know, Democrat-run city that says, oh, you know, we're going to be a sanctuary city. We're going to support this. No, no, no. You want to know something, Democrats? Want to know something, radical leftist liberals? People are sick of it. They are sick of you. Last weekend in Chicago, 26 people had been shot, 8 fatally. That was in gun violence across the city. Now, I want you to listen to this. Here is a resident speaking out in Chicago and saying, guess what? Biden, and by the way, everybody blamed Biden. This was so great because I know some of them were Democrats. I know some of them voted for him. And then they're just like waking up. They're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. It was kind of like what happened in Loudoun County, Virginia, which I bring up often, you know, where parents were like, hey, wait a minute. What are you teaching my kids? You know, you mess with children, you're messing with the mama bear and papa bear, right? You're messing with the family. And there is nothing more fierce than a parent and its own little tribe, right? They aren't going to let it happen. I want you to take a listen to this resident in Chicago. And then just tell me on Twitter or wherever you guys want to leave me a message, whether or not you think there's a shift in this country. I'm looking at the glass as half full.
Politically, having over 500 people in our community would completely wipe out any interest we have. Are you aware that there are immigrant advocates at state houses all over this country who are advocating for non-citizen voting in local elections? What if that happened here? That would change the mindset of what we as a black community need to thrive here in Chicago. That's a concern of ours. This is much bigger than the mayor of Chicago or Chicago Police Department. This is an effort to destroy our neighborhoods and silence our voices even further.
Like that guy, preach. He's right. He's right. This is not the responsibility of the crazy mayor of Chicago. Or, you know, I mean, it's going to be partially his responsibility because it depends on if he supports President Biden. We have another election coming up in 2024. And this is a Biden policy. This is a Democrat policy, right? This is a radical Democrat policy because I bet you there are so many Dems. Let me look. You know what? I'm going to just go through I have my fast facts here. This was a Fox News poll. 36% approve of Biden's immigration policies. 61% of Americans disapprove. 60% think Biden is not tough enough on illegal immigration. According to the CBP, there has been a 37% increase in migrants processed under Title VIII in March from February of 2023. And right now, CBP adds that under Title VIII, 76,851 migrants who were encountered on the southwest border in March of 2023 were removed under Title VIII, which was a dramatic rise from the 55,902. Back in 2019, 54% of Americans revealed in a Pew Research survey that the increasing number of deportations is an important objective for immigration policy. So Americans believe in the law overall, and they've been lied to. And people who support Biden have been lied to. They've been lied to so much that they've been blinded. So people do believe in the law. People don't want 8 million plus is what we're going to have in this country, folks. 8 million plus at the end of Biden's administration. And then I want to go to a little segue here before we wrap this show up. And I think this is so important. And I want to tell you about it. You know what? Maybe I'll tell you about it in 2 seconds. But first, let me tell you about my pillow. And I'm going to tell you quickly because you know how much I love my pillow. I love its bed sheets. I love everything Mike Lindell has. The dog beds, the mattress toppers, the towels more than anything, the white ones. I buy the white ones. They're just easier to wash and they always look brand new. And you too can have this amazing like sheets and dog beds and all this great stuff for you and your family. It also makes great gifts for your kids, especially if you got kids in college. You want to stock them up with some stuff. Go to MyPillow. Go to mypillow.com. Right now, you can get MyPillow 2.0, which is their new pillows that are made. I'm telling you, you put your face on it and they always feel cool. And I love that. I hate getting sweaty at night. So these are beautiful, comfortable, wonderful pillows that stay cool. They're machine washable and dryable. And right now you can get those for a limited time offer. When you buy one MyPillow 2.0, guess what? You get another one free with promo code Carter. Go to mypillow.com for MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one pricing plus discounts on your favorite MyPillow products like towels, sheets, slippers, and more by using the promo code Carter. Stay cool and sleep better with the MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free sale going on now at mypillow.com. Promo code Carter. mypillow.com, promo code Carter. So, okay, look, the important thing to take away from this, I think, and this is what I learned while I was there, because I'm always learning something, right? And I've always believed in this, but if you don't fight for truth, if you don't stand up for your children, you will get steamrolled. You and your family will be steamrolled, or something far worse can happen. We cannot be afraid to stand up and to speak out. Sure, that will create a rift between you and maybe some of the people in your school that you had a relationship with, or sure, it might pit you against a mayor or somebody else, but who cares? Who cares? You have to fight for something. Might as well be for your children. And when you think about it that way, everything you do should be to fight for your children. Is this the nation I want my children and grandchildren to grow up in? Is this the country that is going to be ruled by law or chaos? Do I really want my town or my community to look like the streets of San Francisco look now, not like in the TV show in the 70s? Dating myself again. I never really watched that show, but I did know about it. Those are the things that you have to ask yourself. And then you got to ask yourself this. Should a bunch of men be piled into an elementary school gym using little kids' toilets, right? With no showers, 10 feet away from the kids? And by the way, I have a bone to pick with the Austin airport about the women's restroom. It is super clean, by the way, super clean, very well decorated and super modern. But I could not figure out what was the water, what was the blower, where was the soap, where I felt like I was in an episode of Seinfeld. I was scared. I came out of the bathroom. I wanted to do the right thing. And I'm just segueing to this for a minute because I know you guys have experienced this. Maybe some of you, not all of you. But I get there and there's just these silver things jetting out of the counter. And I think I'm being cool. I stick my hand underneath one and I keep doing it. And there's no soap, nothing's coming out. Then I think, okay, well, I'm just going to wash it with water. I stick it underneath another pipe and I get blown away. It's just like blowing me everywhere in the airport. I mean, I'm just blown. Okay, maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but it was blowing. And then I'm like looking for the water. I'm confused. The lady next to me was confused. She finally found the soap. It was up on the wall. It was like a trickery. It was like clear. You couldn't even see it on the wall. Really, it was clear. So I'm using that. I go back down thinking, okay, I know where the water is now. Nope. It was another blower. It was the blower blew the soap in my face. Then I had to find anyways, I had to rinse my hands off. And as I'm leaving the bathroom, so frustrated that I've just like created this like tornado by the sink, I hear a lady scream like, woo, like she put her hand underneath the wrong one and she got the blower too. So I didn't feel so bad as I was leaving. Because somebody else experienced the hell, the fight. It was like an octopus in the bathroom at Austin Airport. I'm just saying, like, when we design things, let's think ahead. Let's think about what's going to be best for everyone, right? And I think what's best for everyone is to not allow grown men into our elementary schools in the modern day and age, and especially with all the horrors that our children have faced anyways. Haven't they dealt with enough? Haven't these kids been through enough? I mean, they're already behind, and we've seen that statistically because of the lockdowns and COVID. And now you're going to take away their gyms so that people who broke the law can live in their gyms inside their schools with the most vulnerable of our population. Remember, folks, if it doesn't make sense, stand up against it, speak out, don't be afraid. Just like the parents in Brooklyn and Coney Island and all across New York and in the suburbs, they are standing together. And we can see that by standing together, you actually make a difference. You actually win. You actually take back control of your country. You are just that important. Thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. Follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official and on Twitter at Sara Carter DC. And of course on Instagram, where I'm still trying to get verified at S Carter DC. God bless you. God bless our great nation. God bless the moms and dads of New York City. And God bless the great state of Texas.